Truth Be Told 2.0.
Gratitude. This is like totally new, actually.
So let's explore exactly what we mean when we say gratitude. You're getting the down and dirty behind the scenes.
Reminding ourselves to open up to the flow opens up that expansive feel. Have us fully live for everything. Monday morning premiere episode, Truth Be Told, for Tuesday night.
Welcome to another episode of Truth Be Told. My name is Reverend Ryan Alexander, and we are Soul Evolution Collaborative. So this is a spiritual community dedicated to personal transformation and communal evolution. A place to belong, a place to explore, a place to be authentically you. So gratitude. That is the journey for this month. And so we often talk about, read about, hear about this transformative practice of gratitude. But what actually is gratitude? How does it show up? How can we begin to train our brain to recognize it? And what can we do to practice it in very real ways? Ways that actually impact our lives, that impact other people's lives, and yes, even the life of the planet. So we're going to explore these answers and more in this episode of Truth Be Told. So let's explore exactly what we mean when we say gratitude. If we look closely, we can see in many religious traditions, including Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, that cultivating gratitude is an important moral virtue. It is literally intertwined in our religious, cultural, social traditions, part of seeing the world and recognizing those people, places, and things around us. Okay, but that really doesn't define what it is. So here goes. According to empirical research on gratitude by Robert Emmons and Cheryl Crumpler, and I quote, this is their quote on what gratitude is. Gratitude has been conceptualized as an emotion, a virtue, a moral sentiment, a motive, a coping response, a skill, and an attitude. All that to say simply, gratitude can mean different things to different people in different contexts. All right, so we still haven't really honed in exactly what it is, but we're getting a little closer. So gratitude can be broken down simply by researchers. It involves a two-step cognitive process. Recognizing that a positive outcome has been achieved or obtained, and two, the recognition that there is an external source responsible for this outcome. Okay, we're getting a little clearer on what gratitude is, but let's keep going. Gratitude is often thought of as an emotional response. You know, we feel a certain way and we respond to that feeling in a certain way. And this emotional response can be seen on 3 levels. So now we're getting somewhere. 3 levels. Here we go. It can be seen as an affective trait. A-F-F-E-C-T-I-V-E. Affective trait. Meaning related to one's general disposition. So this idea is that, you know, some people naturally experience gratitude or see things to be grateful for more than others or easier than others. Number 2, gratitude can also be seen as a mood. A mood meaning that feeling that fluctuates over time. You know, we know what moods are. Sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're grateful, sometimes we're not. So there are periods where we are more grateful than others. And I can relate to that, and I know that you can relate to that too. And lastly, gratitude can also be seen as an emotion. This, briefer feeling that we may experience in the moment related to a particular event, an experience, an interaction with someone. So you see, there are a lot of facets when we talk about gratitude. It's very intricate, very nuanced. So it's important to understand how these things show up in different ways, at different times, for different people. This understanding creates a solid foundation to understand not only ourselves, but those around us. So next up, we're going to explore how gratitude benefits our brain and some simple ways we can begin to open the door to gratitude.
While you're here, remember to hit like, subscribe, maybe even drop a comment. We would love to hear from you, and thanks for watching. Now that we have set the stage for the conversation this month about gratitude, the next obvious question for me is how? And maybe a little bit why? Why gratitude? So let's open the door to gratitude. Believe it or not, most people, myself included, actually have to decide to be grateful. That gratitude is not something that always comes naturally, and not even necessarily in equal amounts when it does. Maybe easily grateful about some things and not so much about other things. And for most of my life, expressing gratitude was not something that came easily. It wasn't that I was never grateful. Gratitude was just not something I spent a whole lot of time thinking about or expressing. And looking back on it from here, now, knowing what I know now, I can see that I had learned that things often came with strings attached, and gratitude kind of was this like forced thank you cards type of experience. And it took a very intentional effort years later to even take the time to recognize what it felt like to be genuinely grateful in any sort of regular fashion. And so gratitude became a practice. And that is really what opening the door to gratitude is all about. Intentionally cultivating gratitude. But again, why? Well, funny, I'm here. I can tell you why. We did some research. Scientifically, there are many reasons why building our gratitude muscle is important. For one, being grateful can help relieve stress and pain. Literally, the networks in our brain that light up when we are grateful are the same areas that control basic emotional regulation, heart rate, and the chemicals that reduce the experience of stress and pain. Similarly, gratitude is reliant on the same neural networks that get activated during close interpersonal connection. The gratitude that gets activated through social connection is directly linked to improving health over a period of time. Gratitude can literally change the structures and activity of our brain, helping to lessen depression. And perhaps most importantly, at least for me, it is nearly impossible to be in a state of gratitude and simultaneously some other experience that is less than desirable. So gratitude keeps us in a state of mind that is open and expansive. And for me, that part is key, the expansiveness. And it keeps us out of any feelings of restriction, fear, less than, lack, whatever. That list is endless, maybe. But it keeps us out of that. It keeps us in this place of expansion and out of restriction. Gratitude is the natural state of mind when we recognize that life is working for us and with us. So the next question then is, how? How do we gratitude? As if that were a thing. How do we get to the place where gratitude seems easy, or at least easier? And, well, the simple version starts by making it a practice. Now, I have to admit, I remember that feeling that came up anytime it was ever suggested to start a gratitude practice. I don't know why it seems silly, but it is not uncommon for gratitude to come with some sort of history around it. However, setting the intention to look for gratitude in your life can actually help rewrite that story. And gratitude will literally build new neural connections and just make that experience come easier and more natural. So here's a simple practice, actually created by our very own Reverend Ryan, thank you, that we can all use to build our gratitude muscle. You ready? Stop, drop, and roll. Sounds familiar. We've probably all heard it. Turns out it is not only helpful when you are on fire, but Also, when you want to cultivate gratitude. Now, maybe it's not like a physical stop, drop, and roll, but easy enough to remember, stop. Simply take a moment to pause. Interrupt yourself. Interrupt what you're doing throughout your day. Maybe it's once a day, maybe it's several times a day, but just pause and take a deep breath. And drop into that place of awareness. Allow your focus to kind of follow your breath down into your body, out of that monkey mind of extraneous thoughts. And roll with it. Whatever is coming at you in life in that moment, just roll with it for a second. Notice the impact, notice how it shows up, and as best as possible, just allow it to continue flowing, right? We don't want to be in that restrictive place, or if we find ourselves, I'm not here to judge whether we are or aren't to be restrictive. If you find yourself in that restrictive place in this moment, reminding ourselves to open up to the flow opens up that expansive feeling. And so just focus on one aspect in that moment that you can be grateful for. And perhaps in that moment, the only thing that comes to mind is just the opportunity to pause and take a breath. If it's something else, great. So stop, drop, and roll. Easy enough to remember. Pause, stop, pause, drop into that place of awareness, and roll with whatever's shown up. Find that one thing to be grateful for. Gratitude may not always come easy in any given moment, but it can be a very powerful practice. We can take all of those moments throughout our day to pause and build new brain connections that make gratitude a much more regular experience in our lives.